Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on document collaboration and document versioning. My name is Lorraine McGinty. I will be your panelist today, and my colleague Helen will be going through the webinar with you in today's session. For the schedule today, we'll be looking at collaborating a document from case history, using the notification tab in Outlook, collaboration right-click options within Outlook, how to enable enhanced document versioning, creating new versions in case history, and displaying the document ID. If you have any questions throughout today's session, if you could please use the Q&A option within the webinar, and I will do my best to answer any of those questions. If there's any that come up quite often, I will raise it up with you guys at the end of the session as well. And of course, we will leave a couple of minutes at the end of the session also for any other questions that you may have. And with that, I will pass over to Helen to take you through today's webinar. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar. We will start today looking at the collaboration. So like Lorraine's just mentioned there, the few things we're going to go through with collaboration involve sharing your documents and being able to allow somebody else to make some edits and confirm the correct information back to them. So I'm just going to load up Liberate here. Collaboration feature is taken within the history of the case. So I'm going to load into a case first. I'm going to go into the globe, and I've got a case here that we've been working on. So I've saved it and pinned that into place because it's an easy way of accessing the case to start with. So it's just going to load up into Liberate, load up into the case. And then I'm going to go across into the case history, which is here, the icon at the top in the toolbar. And I'm going to see what documents we have available. So on this particular case we're looking at, it's the case of John Jones here. It's a sale case. And I've got a few documents in the history, so it's nice and easy to see what we're doing. So to share a document or collaborate it with somebody, you need to do the right-click options over the document that you're wanting to share. So what you want them to take a look at, collaborate with another user, do a right-click. So I've got one here. Let's have a look which one it is. It's called Estate Agent Initial Letter. And it's labeled Initial Letter version 2 because I've been playing about with this one earlier. So I'm just going to do a right click and I'm going to come down here to the option that says Collaborate. Now, just to mention, Collaborate works hand in hand really with Outlook as well. You have a notification tab in your Outlook and you can be notified of any collaborations through the Outlook tab itself. So we'll go into there as well once we've collaborated the document. So I'll click on Collaborate. It's going to load up the document collaboration window first of all. So look at the top straight away, you can see document collaboration will send a notification to the chosen user so they can review the document. So it clearly states what it's going to do for you. And then you've got the next little tab underneath that says notification and message. So this always states here, please review the document, and it's going to pull the information from the document that I've selected in the history. But I would say probably make this something a little bit more meaningful. Otherwise, if you're collaborating quite a few documents, whoever you're going to send these to, it's always going to say the same type of thing in the wording. So make something meaningful. You can take the whole lot out of here if you like and just type your own information in. I'll just pop something in here. Let's see. Please check paragraph 1. So that's just something a little bit more meaningful that's going to appear on the user screen. Look at the panel here down the left-hand side. It should have all your users within the company here, so you can select from the list that you have. So I've got the scroll at the side. I can drag up and down and see who's in there. But the best way of doing this is probably to use a little filter bar at the top, this little white section under the system users. Now I'm logged in today on the training system here as Aileen, so I can just start to type her name and I can see that she's in the list. I can click on her and I can simply click add. I can take this filter off for Aileen, as we can see here, just using the little cross at the bottom, which says contains. That's the filter I've added. I can remove the filter because you can add more than one user that you want to collaborate a document with. Again, search from the list, or if you see them here, you can just simply double click. That also pulls them across into the right-hand side panel. So you're building up the list of who you want to collaborate the document with. If you need to remove anybody from the list, it's a simple click and a simple remove. So I'm back to now just sharing this document with Aileen. So I'm happy with what I've done in there. In the bottom right-hand corner, simply click OK. And it's going to pop this little window up that tells you that the collaboration has been created, hopefully successfully. So I'll click OK. So what you need to just be mindful of now is a little pop-up which will appear in the bottom right-hand corner to tell you if you're waiting for any collaborations or you want to be made aware, the pop-up window will appear at the right-hand side down here. Now, the system reloads, I think it's every 60 seconds or so. So when you've created your collaboration, it could be another minute before it pops up, or it might pop up at the very second that you've clicked off it. So it's going to reload every 60 seconds. So while we're waiting for this pop-up window to advise the user that they've got a notification, I'm going to just pop into Outlook. So I've got Outlook open here in the bar. So I'm just going to come across here into the right-hand panel. Now you will have noticed there that this pop-up has now appeared, and I'm just going to pin that into place using the little pin here. So it's allowing us to see what information you're going to get. But before we look at that pop-up window, it's the bar here, the taskbar that's running down the right-hand side where you've got the tab of recently used, notifications and suggestions. And you'll see there that the notification tab is red. So if you were working in Outlook, your notification tab is going to go red. So it's telling you that you've got something you need to check. There's an alert for yourselves. And I've got in the notification tab here, the list. I've been playing about with this so you can sort of have a general feel and you can see the sort of things that you might expect to see in the list. So first of all, let's just come to the pop-up window that's just appeared. I've pinned it into place just so I can show you what might happen. So pop-up window appears, whether you're in Liberate or Outlook, you're going to get this pop-up window. It tells you that there's a document collaboration. And you can see this red tick, which is just telling you that you've got something new to check. Now it's popped in again there now because it's going to keep popping in until you've actioned it. So it's alerting you. So many times we get questions of how do you kill the pop-up because I can't get rid of it. That's quite simple. You just need to acknowledge that you've received it. So underneath the red tick, you have this acknowledge receipt. And that's going to say that you're happy, you've seen it, you know you've got something to do. And when I click on there, it'll stop the pop-up window from appearing. Before I do that, we've got open item, another little icon here. That's going to open us up into the document, into the item itself, but there's a couple of ways of doing that. So I'll show you the other way from the panel as well. And then we've got the pin. I pinned it into place. So potentially, if you want, you can have your pop-up windows all pinned in so they're all appearing and you can just keep ticking them off really as and when you've worked on them. Or you might just want to close the pop-up down here. So I'm going to acknowledge receipt using the little grey acknowledge receipt icon here. And you'll notice that the tab in the notification center at the top has now gone back to black because I've acknowledged it. So it's no longer flashing red. It's saying that I've noticed it. So in my notification list here, I've got a few that I've worked on previously just so you can see how it may look. So we know now that the red tick is something new, and you can see at the top here, we've got document collaboration. Please check paragraph 1 and confirm. So that's the one I've just added, and you can see the detail that I added is now appearing here underneath the title. So it's nice and easy for the user to see what they have to do at a glance. I've got another one here to action, just called testing. Another one, webinar example. So that they've all got the red tick. It's something new. It requires my approval. So when I hover the mouse over it, it can also tell you there, requires your approval, because I've sent it to myself to approve. Where you have a green flag, that's saying somebody has passed this notification, they've approved it, so it's gone green. So the red tick has gone green because it's alerting me that that's been approved, it's okay. And then you can guess probably here at the bottom what the red flag means. It means that the last step was rejected. So if you see the list and you've got a quick glance there at the list, you can look at the icons and you can see straight away what's happening with any of the collaborations that you have in your list. So we've mentioned that we can open it from the pop-up window in the little open tab that we had there. But the best way of looking at this and seeing what other options you have is to highlight the one that collaboration you've received that you're working on and do a right click with the mouse. So in these right-click collaboration options, you've got the top one which says open. Acknowledge receipt has been grayed out because I acknowledged it through the pop-up, so that's now grayed out. I don't need to acknowledge it. It's not going to pop in again. I've killed the pop-up off. I need to pass or I need to fail it, but obviously I need to have a look at the document first and see what's happening. Disregard removes it from the list. I can't disregard it, it's greyed out. That's simply because I haven't yet passed or failed it. So I can't disregard it as yet, that's why it's greyed out. Show history, and quite useful, this one. If I click into show history, it's going to bring the history panel up here onto the Outlook screen. So this is identical view of what you've just been seeing in the Liberate, where I originated the collaboration from. So I can now see the history panel as well. Let's go back into that right click. Load case, I'll load the case up in Liberate, so I'll get the Liberate view back. As go to case history, will load me straight into the case history in Liberate of where the collaboration is from. And refresh is simply going to refresh the screen. So we'll start at the top here with the open one. Click on open. The documents come in, I need to collaborate. I need to check it, see what I need to do. So let's check the paragraph. As soon as I click open, you can double click as well. Either way, it's going to pull this window into view. And it says, what do you want to do really? What action do you want to choose? Do you want to edit the document? Do you want to do a new version? Cancel will just close this little window down. Or maybe I just want to have a view read only, so I can just check any of the detail. Depends obviously what the collaboration is and what's been asked of you. So I'll go into edit. And you'll see it's just going to load us up into Word, and it's going to load the document up itself. So here's the document. I would go through, I would obviously check, it said check paragraph 1. So I would have a look, make any edits in here, change anything that needs changing. You're just now working in Word as you normally would do your documents, nothing different in there. You can save and close the document down once you're happy with that. And the collaboration has happened, you've had a look, you've checked it, you've made any edits. So when I go back in here now, I need to tell the originator, do I want to pass it or do I want to fail it? So I'm going to say I'm quite happy with this, and I'm going to pass it. So the originator, which in this case is me, because it started from me in the first place, will receive a pop-up message to say that this has now been approved. And you'll notice that the flag at the top has gone green because the notification is now complete. As far as I'm concerned, I've checked it. It's okay. That's gone back to the originator. And you can see the notification has gone red again because they've got the little pop-up appearing to say that the notification has gone back to the originator to say it's been approved. So that's a simple collaboration, going and approving it. But you may also obviously want to reject a collaboration. So I'm just going to come down to the window here at the bottom where we've prepped one earlier on that's been rejected, and that's the flag that you get when it's rejected. So let's look at one of these ones that we've created earlier that says document collaboration testing. And if I do a right click over here, it's the same things that you're appearing on the screen, but I actually want to fail it. So with this particular collaboration, I click on fail, and you get enter reason for rejection. So I'm just going to pop in there something simple, out of date. But you would obviously type something meaningful, depending on what the collaboration is, into the box, and simply click OK here and send that one back to the originator. So this time the originator is going to receive the pop-up window. It will appear again. It might have just been missed, so it could be another 30 seconds or so. But they will say that something's been rejected, and you'll notice this time that the flag is telling you that the last step was rejected. So that's your collaboration there, doing it from the history of Liberate and showing how you can pull it through and make your adjustments. So I'm going to look at this one here that we've got document collaboration. This has been approved. It's been complete. So if I right click over this one in my list, I do have the option to disregard it because it has been passed. So I can remove it from my list. So a simple click, disregard, and it's taken it off the screen. So you can't disregard them until you've chosen pass or fail and it's gone through the process. And then you can just clear your list down, do your right clicks, disregard, and it's gone away there from view. So you're just keeping on top of the list load that you have. Okay, so I'll just right click again. I'm going to go right click, go to case history. If I go to case history from there, it's going to pull me straight back into Liberate where we started off. And we're back to where we started with the right click options over a document And I can go again and I can decide to collaborate something different or something to somebody different. And the whole process will be run through again. So that's nice and simple collaboration of a document using the collaboration feature from Liberate. But just remembering, when you're in Outlook, you can pull that history pane in, and you can also toggle the history pane in using your icons at the top. It toggles the history pane in. And if I go over and click a document in here, I've got exactly the same option. It's exactly the same view. So I can also collaborate here from Outlook as well. And if I click on collaborate, it's going to load up the same window as what we've just seen, but potentially you might just want to remain in Outlook. You might not want to be flicking back in and out. So that's the glory of that. You can work from Outlook, or you can work within Liberate. And I will close that window down. Okay, so we will take a look now at document versioning. So I'm going to go back into my case here in Liberate, and I'm in the history, and I want to perhaps create a new version of a document. So the document versioning, if I look at, I've got a document here, estate agent initial details, and it looks like this is version 2. There's only a couple of documents in this queue, so it's nice and easy to see for you all. But if you want to start off by just thinking, well, I need to see a little bit more clear as to what version history I have on the documents, you have a tick box here in the history selection filter options at the top. And if I was to check that box, it's just going to pull this little panel through underneath the documents, and it's telling me the version history. So it's showing the versioning codes. So estate agent letter, document ID is 2256, and this one is version 2 because it's got /2. It's telling me that this is the latest version because it says yes. Underneath there, you can see nice and clearly we've got document revision 2256, it's the same, and this one is version 1. Is this the latest version? No, because it's telling me there that it is, but I've got other documents as well that have got versioning codes, and so I want to see the document a little bit more clearly. I just want to see the version history of this particular document. So if I do a right click over the document and I just come down here, in the right click options, I have version history there. And if I was to select version history, it takes the other documents away from view, and it just pulls onto the screen the one document that I'm particularly interested in. And I can see now that we've got version 1, version 2 a little bit more clearly. There's no other documents in there blocking any views of anything. It's just nice and easy to read. If I want to pull the screen back to the full view, in the bottom left here, I've got the filter. I can just cross the filter off, and it pulls everything back into view here in the history screen. So I want to create a brand new version of this document. I can see there I've got version 1 and version 2, but I want to create a new version, which is going to become version 3. So if I open the document, I can do the right click, open the document, and you've got this familiar box now that we saw when we did the collaboration of do I want to edit it? Do I want to create a brand new version? Just cancel out the window, or maybe a view read only. And I'm just going to kill that pop-up, by the way. Can you see from the collaboration? I'm going to kill that off so it doesn't keep popping onto the screen. So I'm going to create a brand new version here. Click on new version, document renaming window pops into view. Please enter the document name. So when it saves back onto the history, what do you want it to be called? It probably wants to be called something different rather than initial letter estate agents. I'm just going to call it V3, just so it's nice and easy for us to see on that screen. So estate agent version 3, I could also file it somewhere different in more than one filing cabinet here in the history side. It's selected here for estate agent, so that's okay. I'm happy with that. And it's going to load up the document. So here is my document that was version 2. I want to make some tweaks because I want a brand new version. I'm just going to now call this one version 3. And I'll just pop webinar in there. So I've made some edits, tweaked the document a little bit. Happy with that. I can save this down. And it's going to ask, do you want to do the usual time recording? So the window here is telling me it's the Word document. We've got the time clock running. That's if it's relevant, obviously for yourselves. Not everybody does use the time recording functionality. You might not need it for your job role, but if you are, you'll be able to time record here on the document, any edits that you've made with the new version. Do you want to call it something different here again? Any notes that you want to add? You've got the quick note drop down if you want to choose something from there that goes into the narrative, or you can tweak what we have down here. And again, I'm just going to take that out. I'm going to pop version 3 in there. And again, I'll just pop webinar, because that's how it's going to look when it saves to the history. So it's just making it nice and clear for us to see what we're doing there. I'm not going to do any time recording. I'm just going to save and close the document. So you can see now, looking here in my history view, there's a document that we've just created. We've done a nice version 3. Got the tick box on so I can see the version. I'll just untick that again so you can see how it squashes everything back up. So I want to see the version history of any of these documents. I'll show the version in numbers and IDs. Tick the box. You can see that it's the same 2256. It's the same document ID. And we've got here, this is the latest version. It's version number 3. Again, I'll just do that right-click option and just remind us where that version history is, because I just want to see the version history of that particular document. So it's shrinking the view down just to 3 because I've just got version 1, 2, and 3. Nice and easy to see now. I can see where I am, what's the latest version, etc. Let's close that filter off. Something else that you will find really useful when you're doing your versioning. If you do a right click, this is version 3. That's okay, but when you come down here and you've got create new copy, you've got copy becomes latest version and copy becomes unrelated version. Now I know that my version 3 is the latest version of this document. So if I was to click copy becomes latest version, it's going to pop this window telling me that this is already the latest version. So you can't really do anything else with it. It's the latest version. You can't create another latest version. So that's okay. But what I may want to do is decide that version 2 was actually what I want to roll back to. I want the version 2 to become the latest version again. So if I was to go now to the version 2 and do a right click and click copy becomes latest version, it's going to roll it back a step. So here comes the document renaming window. That's okay. And I'll just pop on the end of there. I'm just going to put latest version. Like I'll just put there in brackets. Was number 2, just so we can see clearly what's happening. And I'm going to click OK. So again, it's bringing up the document. It's rolling it back to that version 2 that we had. You can see here, version 2. That's OK. That's the one I actually want now, is the latest version. So I'm OK with that. I'm going to close that down. Do I want to do any time recording? Not this time, but it's there to do if I wanted. I'm going to take out the note section here, and I'm just going to put latest version rolled back so you can see where we're at. Again, I could associate this to a party as well, and in this screen as well. Maybe it's John Brown. Let's just select somebody in here. But you can do the necessary bits in here as you normally would with your time recording and note window, and simply save and close. So now I've got the latest version rolled back. Can you see it's version 4? It's a new version, but it's actually been rolled back as well. So again, let's just go into that version history so we can see nice and clearly where we were and what we had. And you can see the naming window here when I rename the document. So it's nice and clear for us to see what we did. We had version 3 there, and then we've got version 4, which was actually rolled back from version 2. It's the same ID, but the version is continuing. If you want to produce a document from this document just to be a brand new version 1, so it's not related at all, you may have noticed when we did the right click option in the create new copy, we also had copy becomes unrelated document. So it could be that you just like this document, but you don't want it to be part of this version history that we're now looking at. You want it to start going off on its own angle and become the version 1 and make some edits. So copy becomes latest document. That's okay. You can pull it out from there, do the right click. I'll just put new version 1. It's going to be a brand new document. We're going to make some edits and I'm going to click OK. Here's a document. So I might want to now add a whole new paragraph in here. It's not going to be called version 2. I'm going to add some new stuff. It's a brand new version of a document, but I just like the look of the paragraphs that it already held, so I don't have to change everything up. Nice and easy. Let's just save the document down. Anytime recording, new version 1, that's okay. I'm happy with that. Save and close. Just going to take that filter off there. Refresh the page if you can't see what you're looking for in there. But at the top there, now we've got new version 1. So the content is very similar to what I had in my previous versions of a document, but it's in effect, it's a brand new document. It's the latest, it's version 1, and I can now continue. So we've really copied some information, but made it a brand new version. So it's unrelated to what we had before. And that's how you will check and look for your versioning, see what's latest, see if you want to roll anything back. It's all done really from the tick box here, so you can see your versioning. The right-click options and the create new copy give you the options of rolling things back or making something the latest. And if you do have any issues with your version that you can't see any of the version history or something's not quite working for you, I'm just going to pop into the command level here, because the document version, I'm presuming and I'm hoping that everybody will be set up for document version and having this available to them. But if for any reason it isn't, if you come into the Liberate red globe and you click into the globe and go into the options. Now, this is for the administrators of the system that would set this up for you. But if I go into the options here, and I can come down to the admin options. So not everybody will see this, it's just those that have got the permission. If I go into admin options and go into DMS, the document management system here. So document management system, enhanced versioning, you click into the tab and you can see that mine there is enhanced document versioning is on. So if you had any issues as an administrator, just check that control there. If it says off, just give it a click and change it to on, and you should be able to access the relevant detail and the relevant information as to what we've just been shown there on the system. So that's found in your red globe, in the options, and in the admin setting that you will have in there. Okay, so we've looked at collaboration there. We've seen how we can collaborate. We've looked at versioning and how you can create your versions. I'm going to stop talking there. It was a nice, quick webinar. So I'm going to hand you back over to Lorraine and see if she has any questions coming through or if there's anything that needs to be looked at in a little bit more detail. So over to you, Lorraine.
Thank you very much, Helen. We have no questions at the moment, so I'll just give everybody a couple of minutes if there's any questions that come through and give you a chance to send those through to us. While we're waiting, just to confirm that any webinars that you may want to join, you can always access the list of those within our website when you go to linetime.co.uk and just select the events tab at the top. That will give you the list of webinars and they'll be within months. So the next section that we have is the August 2021 webinars. There's just a couple in there at the moment. So keep an eye out on the website because in the next few weeks you will see further ones being added for September, October, etc. But otherwise, there's no questions. So hopefully that was answered any questions that you may have had previously or just reminded you of anything. But otherwise, we will leave it there and we will see you at the next webinar. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thanks everyone. See you all again soon.